So what's going on guys, Kate is here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best Gunslinger PVE build in Lost Ark. So in this guide I will show you what abilities and awakening skill you want to get. Then I will explain what are the best engravings, gems and cards to use for endgame content. And then lastly I will show you the best gameplay and even which stats you need to allocate for PVE, so you would be able to get the best results and highest damage possible and much more. So no matter how low or high level or gear score your character is, you can easily use this build and follow the step-by-step guide. So if this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. So the Gunslinger can swap to 3 different weapons in order to match any fight, which makes this a very powerful class during the leveling and dungeon farming process. She has everything in her kit including mobility, single target and AoE damage. And as you have 3 different weapons with multiple abilities in each one, you can never run out of skills to use. And then at the endgame we will be using the time to hunt engraving, which will remove one of your weapons, the shotgun in particular, but in return you will get plus 35% crit rate, which will make this class more simplistic, so you don't have to worry about using all of your 16 skills all at once, and at the same time you will increase your damage and much more. So if you are looking for the best leveling, raiding, chaos dungeon or any other PvE content build, then this is the one for you. Okay, so now let's move over to the build itself, and these are the skills you want to have. So for the first ability we have the quick step, and we use this time just 4 levels to unlock the life absorption. Then for your gems you want to get cooldown reduction gem, and then lastly for your rune you want to get the rage. Then for the second ability we have the target down, and we use 10 levels to select the quick aim, large magazine and steady aim. Then for your gems you want to get both types, so one for cooldown reduction and the second one for damage increase. And then lastly for your rune you want to get the gale wind. Then for the next one we have the catastrophe skill, and we use 7 levels to unlock the quick aim and concussion. Then for your gems you don't want to select anything, and then lastly for your rune you want to get the overwhelm. Then for the fourth ability we have the meteor stream, and this time we don't want to use any levels. Then for your gems you want to get both types, so one for cooldown reduction and the other one for damage increase. And then lastly for your rune you don't want to select anything. Then for the next one we have the AT-02 grenade, and we use just 4 levels to unlock the magic control. Then for your gems you don't want to select anything, and then lastly for your rune you want to get the bleed. So then for the next ability we have the spiral tracker, and we use once again 4 levels to select the weakness exposure. Then for your gems you again don't want to select anything, and then lastly for your rune you want to get the conviction. So then for one of the last abilities we have the bullet rain, and we use 10 levels to unlock the ambush, rapid fire and flame shot. Then for your gems you want to get both types, so again one for cooldown reduction and the other one for damage increase. And then lastly for your rune you don't want to get anything. Then for the next skill we have the dexterous shot, and we use 7 levels to select the weakness exposure and excellent mobility. Then for your gems you don't want to select anything, and then lastly for your rune you want to get the judgment. Then for the ninth ability we have the equilibrium, and this time we use just 4 levels to unlock the weakness exposure. And then lastly for your gems and runes you don't want to select anything. Then for the next ability we have the focus shot, and we use 10 levels to unlock the quick aim, double tap and quick finish. Then for your gems you want to get both types, so one for cooldown reduction and the other one for damage increase. And then lastly for your rune you want to get the gale wind. Then for the next one we have the peacekeeper ability, and we use one of our last 4 levels to select the excellent mobility. And then lastly for your gems and runes you don't want to select anything. And then for the last and final ability we have the perfect shot, and we use our last 10 levels to unlock the stable stance, kill confirmation and enhanced shot. Then for your gems you want to get both types, so one for cooldown reduction and the second one for damage increase. And then lastly for your rune you want to get the gale wind. Then as well after level 50 for your awakening skill you want to get the high caliber HE bullet. But if you haven't reached level 50 yet, then here's a specific guide on which abilities you should upgrade first while leveling with the Gunslinger. And then on top of all this, focus on equipping as high item level gear as you can. And then at the endgame you should have 620 specialization and 980 swiftness. But again, if you haven't reached this point yet, then try to have around 60% stats into swiftness and 40% stats into specialization. Okay, so then the way I would recommend to upgrade this build is at level 50, you will get around 250 points. So this is how your build should look like. but then by doing more and more endgame content you will get more points. But then at the absolute endgame, this is how your build should look like with all the 412 skill points. So at the start you use the 252 point build, and then by leveling up and completing quests you will get more points. So just keep on improving your skills and getting higher tier runes and gems as well. So then let's move over to the engravings, and you want to get the time to hunt. This engraving provides increased crit rate for pistol and rifle weapons, but it will disable the shotgun for easier and more simplistic gameplay. Then the second engraving is called the Peacemaker, and this provides some attack speed for pistol mobility skills, and it will improve the damage of your rifle skills. This engraving only needs to be at level 1 because additional levels offer very little damage increase compared to other level 3 engravings. Then the next one is called the Keen Blunt Weapon, and because our build has so much crit, especially from our other engravings, getting increased crit damage will come very handy to increase our overall damage. Then for the fourth engraving you want to get the Adrenaline, and this engraving provides a additional source of crit and attack power. This engraving is very useful because we have low cooldowns, so you can easily upkeep the stacks. Then the next one is called the Grudge, and this is more advanced engraving that is recommended for tier 3 content. This Grudge is the most efficient engraving against mobs, and you will get your damage increased, but in return you will take 20% more damage. So when you get to the very end game content, which is called tier 3, then get this engraving, and before using it, get it to at least level 2, because at level 1 this engraving is not that efficient. And then for the last one we have the Cursed Doll, and this is a significant attack power increase at the cost of 25% healing penalty. This penalty can be offset by paying more attention on dodging red AoE circles and by using healing potions more often. So then in my summary, I would recommend to get the top 3 engravings first and then the bottom 3. And then last but not the least, let's move over to your cards, and you want to get the Armen, Syria, Solas, King Tyrann, Carmen, and Delayan Armen. In general, these cards are an endgame system for maximizing your character, so you don't have to get them right away, but these specific cards will optimize your damage output in PvE even more. I did bunch of testing for this build, and this was the best and most optimized card set. Okay, so then moving over to the gameplay, and if you have played this class while leveling, you will be very familiar with the skills, so I will just try to give you a short description. So then for the first 3 abilities we have the Spiral Tracker, Equilibrium, and Dexterous Shot, and these skills are used to deal damage and apply a debuff on the enemy, which will lower your target's crit resistance so you can do a lot more damage. Then the second ability is called the Peacekeeper, and this is your one and only counter attack skill. Then for the next ability we have the Catastrophe, and this skill is used for stagger to compensate for not having the shotgun stagger skills. Then moving over to the next ones, and whenever you need to move around the enemy or you just need more mobility in general, then use the next 3 skills called the Dexterous Shot, Quick Step, and Peacekeeper. And then for the last 3 skills we have the Perfect Shot, Focus Shot, and Target Down, and these are your main and highest damage abilities. And then last but not the least, for your Awakening skill we have the High Caliber HE Bullet, and when using this ability your character will quickly move behind the enemy and then shoot one single bullet that will do massive amounts of damage. So most of the time I use the skill when fighting a boss or above average mob. Okay, so then let's take a closer look at your best skill rotation, and as we are using the Time to Hunt engraving, our rotation will be very straightforward and simple, but if you do it correctly you will do massive amounts of damage. So then the best rotation is to first of all use your pistol and activate the Equilibrium ability, then use the Quick Step, then switch to the rifle and use the Target Down, Focus Shot, and Perfect Shot, then switch back to the pistol, and then from here use most of your pistol abilities in no particular order till your rifle skills come back up from the cooldowns, and then repeat the same process. So let's see what we did in this rotation. But first of all, using the Equilibrium we debuffed our enemy by 10%, then we used the Quick Step to apply a buff that will give us 5% attack and movement speed. Then from here we switch to the rifle and use our main damage skills. Then when that is done we switch back to the pistol, then we use our second debuff ability called the Dexterous Shot, and then we used most of our pistol skills while waiting for the rifle abilities to come back up, and that's about it. So now for my last and final conclusions for this build. First of all, remember that you use your pistol skills for mobility and to apply a debuffs to the enemy, and then you use all of your rifle skills for purely damage. Then as well, don't forget that the Peacekeeper is the only counter attack skill in this build, so make sure you save that for anticipating the boss mechanics in the endgame dungeons. And then lastly, before using your main damage skills, activate the Quick Step ability, so you would be able to increase your overall damage, and that's about it. So I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other good Lost Ark PVE classes that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe, and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you wouldn't miss any more amazing content from me. With all this said, you have an amazing day and I'll catch you in my next video. So take it easy, peace.
Yo, I ain't here